Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Heartland podcast. I'm David Steinman, your host. I'm the author of Raising Healthy Kids, Protecting Your Children from Hidden Chemical Toxins. I'm also chief officer of the Chemical Toxin Working Group. We prosecute corporations for selling products and foods with hidden chemical toxins when they should be revealed. And we've won cases against major corporations like Kroger, Walmart, California Olive Ranch, Procter and Gamble. You can just Google Chemical Toxin Working Group or my book, Raising Healthy Kids. I'm here today with one of the most important civil rights activists in the United States today. We are so fortunate to have Robert Taylor on the Heartland podcast. Robert single-handedly stopped the DuPont Denka plant from operating through his persistence, his political leadership, his group building skills, his inspiration. And DuPont Denka is located in Reserve, Louisiana, in an area of the country that has come to be known as Cancer Alley. It's the most industrialized corridor in the Western Hemisphere. We are so fortunate. Robert, welcome to the Heartland podcast.
Thank you, David. It's an honor to be here with you.
Now, tell us where you are right now.
I am in my hometown of Reserve, Louisiana, where I was born and raised.
And how far are you from the DuPont Denka plant?
I don't know, maybe 1,500 or 2,000 feet.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about, now, one of your kids, is Robert Jr., is recovering from a kidney condition. And he was born around the time the DuPont Denka plant came into Reserve. Tell us a little bit about that connection and what you see. I want people to understand how important their shopping decisions are to everyone's health.
Yeah, well, because of our proximity to that plant, or rather, let me rephrase that, because we were here long before that plant came. So they actually located that plant in our community right on top of us. And with the level of chemicals, we were not aware of the level of chemicals that we would be exposed to as a result of that plant's operation here. So when Robert got ill as a young boy at 3 years old, we never knew anything about the effect of that chemical plant and that it had on us. But my daughter that was born after him, she was born in 1968. That is the year that DuPont Denka started operations here. She was born in October of 1968. DuPont started operations in late 68 and early 69. So she has been exposed all of her life. She is now incapacitated. She's suffering from a very rare autoimmune disease that our doctors tell us was caused by her lifelong exposure to these chemicals coming from DuPont Denka.
Robert, last year you said goodbye to your sweetheart, your wife, Zenobia, at the end of 2024. She passed away.
Yes, she did. After 61 years of marriage, courtship that started almost 70 years ago.
And she passed away from
illnesses that were totally related to her lifelong exposure to these chemicals. She was first diagnosed with cancer. She was able to survive that cancer, but by us not knowing then what was causing her illnesses, she wound up with other respiratory illnesses and with a heart diseases caused as a result of all of this. And after years of suffering, she died on December 31st of 2024, unfortunately, sadly for us.
You know, all of these conditions are related to chemical exposure. What kind of chemicals have you been exposed to living so close to a polluting plant like DuPont Denka?
Well, I can only go by the information that we were able to get from EPA. I found out that this particular plant was licensed by the state to dump 29 chemicals in our environment, in the air, the river, the water, and they were licensed to do what's called deep well injections. They could actually bore down to our natural aquifer and pump these poisons there.
And then they spread throughout the. People need to understand what it's like where you live. It's all water.
Yes.
So you don't really get rid of the poisons by drilling them down deep because the water circulates everywhere. It's swamps, marshes, wetlands, and of course the Mississippi and Bayou Lafourche.
Well, it's very obvious with them dumping it into the Mississippi River is one of the most dangerous to human life in this area here, Cancer Alley. We're known for over 200 and something chemical plants in the 5-parish area called Cancer Alley. And all of them dump directly into the Mississippi River and directly into the air. Tons and tons of chemicals. I don't know what petrochemical plant that's here, Marathon. I don't know what Nalco, the chemical company, all here in St. John. There are numerous plants here, and the real danger to our people, and a great shame, I think, is that we have no way of knowing what it is we are breathing, what it is that we are exposed to.
Well, now you do know that chloroprene is one of the major chemicals being emitted that has been emitted, because I want to make the point that Robert brought this plant to a closure in 2025. During the height of the Trump administration, Robert accomplished something. It was not talk. He got the plant closed. People will claim to be part of that process, but only one person made it happen. That plant, and it's probably still emitting chloroprene because it's probably so contaminated that the fumes will not go away for a long time, whether it's chloroprene, ethylene oxide, benzene, toluene. But Robert, you've been dealing particularly with chloroprene. Tell me a little bit about that, because that's one of the chemicals that could have caused kidney and immune damage to your kids.
Yeah, and it is known as a human carcinogen, and it has been blamed for this condition that we find ourselves here. I was informed by EPA that because of our exposure to chloroprene, we had the highest risk of cancer in the nation. We were 1,800 times the national average as a result of our exposure to the chloroprene being put on us by DuPont Denka. And David, I want to say, this has been a long and hard fighting Denka. And I have had lots of help, just as I have had people who are fighting against us, people who are doing things to hamper our fight, to have them just reduce the levels to what EPA has determined is a safe level of exposure.
During the Biden administration, a lot of people have criticized Biden on so many fronts, and we should be criticizing all our presidents. But I do want to talk to you a little bit about the things that EPA Administrator Michael Regan made happen in Cancer Alley. Tell me a little bit about his contributions, because they are major and offer a vision for what we can have again when we get rid of the orange blob.
Yeah, well, certainly, because Biden administration gave us the best hope that we had in this fight. They gave us a Mr. Michael Regan. When he became the administrator of the EPA, he actually reached out to us. When I started this movement, with the help of some other people here, this thing was co-founded, and we began this fight to really vigorously get out and fight in 2017. We had no support. We could not get the ear of any state or local politician,
including a Democratic governor at the time,
including especially the governor.
John Bel Edwards.
Yes, Governor Edwards. We were so focused because of the desperate situation at Fifth Ward Elementary School, which is sitting in the center of St. John Parish in reserve, but that plant had been set up only about 1,000 feet away from that school. And those children, kindergarten through fifth grade, were being exposed to levels of these highly carcinogenic and poisonous chemicals as much as 400 times what EPA said was a safe level exposure for adults. This had us as driven people. We were desperate to at least protect these children. So we started the movement to relocate these children to a safer zone, although chloroprene permeated the entire parish. There was no place in the parish of St. John where Denka met the EPA mandated level of chloroprene, which was 0.2 micrograms per cubic meter of air.
And I should say then, so people understand what you're saying, is you at first may have wanted to see if you could find a safe place for the kids at the Fifth Ward School, where you attended this school, your grandkids, great-grandkids either have attended or will be attending. But when you realize there was no safe place in all of reserve, you began to realize it's not the school that should be moved, it's the plant that should start to obey the law. And that's how Michael Regan came to help you.
Yeah, well, Michael Regan came to do what he could to help us. But just to make sure we understand, our fight, and I'm saying this because of what this situation has evolved to come to. We knew that there was a facility at the western end of the parish, a school facility there, that could have housed those 500 children. They could have moved them there, and the level of exposure was only 4 or 5 times what EPA recommended, not 400 times, which we felt was a much safer environment, while we struggled to get DuPont Denka to reduce their poisons. Our original goal was not to put them out of business, was to get them to operate here in a safe fashion and, not killing our people. No.
But they never did reach the even liberal legal limit of 0.2 for chloroprene. DuPont Denka never even reached the legal limit.
Well, according to all, and again, I'm saying we were relying on them to monitor that and tell us, you know what I'm saying? The EPA and the state did some monitoring, but it was primarily the responsibility was given to them. The fox guarding the hen house.
Yes, exactly.
Kind of thing, So we were fighting for that, but EPA was here monitoring. So we were getting some results, but we never us here as victims, I feel so vulnerable because I do not know what these people are doing in the atmosphere with our environment in terms of the stuff that's in the air that we got to breathe. We can try not to drink the water. We can buy water, but we still got to shower in the water. We can't get around the air that we breathe. So it was very important. It is very important to us. And this is how Mr. Regan made the difference. He agreed that these people, we the people here, need to be able to monitor our air. We need to know what's in the air we're breathing. And he made legislation and allocated funding for that specific purpose.
Now, that's a whole other issue where that money has gone.
Well, that's a whole other issue, yes. But if we can speak about that. But to continue on, it's just important to us is that we here, in the inhabitants of this community, that our awareness being raised and our ability to at least be aware of what it is we are being subjected to by these petrochemical industries that's here.
As it is now, Robert, the monitoring is deficient. The state is not helping you. Landry is about as anti-environmental as you can get as a governor. But I want to talk a little bit about two things. why is this important to everybody listening to this podcast? And my feeling on this is that my kids will not be safe, my family will not be safe until every family is safe. And one of the ways you can begin to see this is Robert's been speaking about drinking water. Every drop of drinking water for 1.3 million Louisianans has a chemical herbicide in it called atrazine, which is manufactured by Syngenta, which I think is upstream from you, isn't it, Robert? The Syngenta plant?
I've heard of it, yes.
Yeah. And also atrazine is sprayed on all the sugarcane fields that line the Mississippi River. So when you're buying sugar, for example, if it's not organic, you are contributing to poisoning Robert's family because they have to drink the water with the atrazine. And that is one of the main herbicides used today on the cane crop. That's why every drop for 1.3 million Louisianans, everybody in New Orleans, everybody further south is getting poisoned water. And you've just got to be aware of that so that you can make decisions as a shopper to take care of everyone in this country. I think that's really important. So with the DuPont Denka plant, in order to keep it shut, because it shut down because of the Han rule, which Michael Regan helped to put into effect, and Robert's leadership and helping to lead a boycott. What did that plant manufacture, Robert? Tell us that so we can understand what we should not be buying as consumers whenever we can avoid it.
It's an artificial rubber. That is the end product of that plant. But a process involves chloroprene. See, that's their main item that they have to use in producing this neoprene.
So, for example, you've hooked up with some filmmakers who have just made a film about the wetsuit industry, because one of the big supporters of Cancer Alley have been surfers who have said no more neoprene wetsuits. There are natural materials that we can get our wetsuits made from that won't poison Robert's family. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, when these people heard our story, they found out that they are an international organization of surfers. I think they're called the Big C, SEA. And when they found out, they decided to support our efforts by boycotting the neoprene. And I'm sure that that's probably the biggest effect that we've had on them, because internationally they were boycotted by this organization.
What's the name of the film?
That is the name of the film.
Look it up online, folks, and support it. So when people are shopping for mouse pads, for koozies to keep their beverages cold, folks, don't buy those made from neoprene. When you're buying a jump rope, don't get one with neoprene handles. When you're buying weights, just get the iron weights. Don't get those ones with all the fancy, colorful neoprene. The reason why, folks, is we have our family in Louisiana. You're looking at Robert Taylor, one of the most important civil rights activists in America. And there's so much power that we have as consumers all across this country to join together and make a difference. And so avoid neoprene whenever possible. Robert, is there something you'd like to say in close? And folks, we'll be talking a lot more about other issues, but I just kind of wanted to center you in on the beginning of understanding Cancer Alley and its importance to all of us. So, Bob, is there something else you'd like to say in close?
Yeah, well, I just would like to thank all of the many people who supported our efforts here, and hope and pray that they can monitor better the products that they're using. And if they, like you have just mentioned, that would be a big help to us. We would appreciate that greatly.
It's so easy to make smarter choices and shift the market. That's how we got the organic market. It didn't come from above, from the federal government saying we're going to create foods without pesticides. It came from consumers demanding foods without pesticides. Robert lives in Cancer Alley where all these pesticides are manufactured. Syngenta, Marathon, Shell, they all make them here. Go organic. That's another way of reducing Robert Taylor. It's not just Robert Taylor. It's so many people, just the heart of America. I don't know what else to say. This is David Steinman. This is the Heartland podcast. You can get my new book, Raising Healthy Kids, Protecting Your Children from Hidden Chemical Toxins at Amazon.com, or you can use the link in this post. If you like this podcast, please share it. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel at David_Steinman_author. Thanks very much for being with us today, and we'll talk to you again very soon.